and welcome to the very last history video of mine you will have to sit through and watch. Enjoy. Today I should go into a little bit of detail of things that happened in the 1960s, whether it be foods people ate, things people did, people wore, music people listened to, just anything, and maybe a few historical facts that happened in the 1960s. Since this is history class, let us first go through all the historical things that happened in the 1960s. As we all know, the Vietnam War went from 1955 to 1970. Vietnam War. 1955 to 1975. So it does take place throughout the entirety of the 1960s, so that's going to be a huge part of history. For the Vietnam War, things that happened during the 1960s were things such as Viet Cong, My Lai, and the Gulf of Tonkin, which there are many more, but those are some of the very important things that happened during the 1960s, historically. Also during this time, a lot of female activists started fighting more for women's rights, even more than usual, and birth control was made. You know, like, you could give us, like, equal pay or, like, better jobs, but, yeah, I guess birth control it's fine. On November 22nd, 1963, we lost our president, John F. Kennedy. And on December 15th, 1966, we also lost Walt Disney, who is someone who still inspires us to this day, so he had a very huge impact on us in general, just not even the 60s, just overall. And I barely got this one by 1 year because it happened in 1969, so I still get to talk about it. On July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 landed on the moon. As we all know, that was a very big accomplishment for the US. Now, the 1960s, as all of you most likely know, was for the hippies. This is where the vibe of peace and love and words like what a bummer and groovy and ditch and all that kind of stuff started coming into pop culture. And for my favorite part of the 1960s, the music. This is when rock and roll was the most popular. It's still popular today, but it was the most popular and everybody was listening to it no matter where you went. So this is where some of the greatest bands of all time, like Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and Led Zeppelin, were very popular and came to be. Led Zeppelin actually debuted in 1969, so I even got to keep them too in this one because they're the greatest band, I promise you. In 1969, the biggest pop festival ever to be held was Woodstock, where a whole bunch of music listeners would gather together and just listen to all their favorite music, and it was very, very huge. And in honor of one of the greatest bands of all time, I shall play a piece on the guitar of one of the best songs ever. Enjoy. Jacobies! Anyways, going on. As I said, this was the time of the hippies, so this is when a lot of people wore really, really bright colors and ball-bottom pants and go-go boots. They had afros and bandanas, and that's all you saw. I probably won't own any of that, so don't ask me. Now, foods. Let's look up some of the most popular foods in the 1960s, and I will try to make one of them, so let's see if I can make one of them. Now it's safe to say this decade had some pretty interesting foods that were very popular during this time, so let's get onto it. Things like meatballs and jelly, fondue, fruits inside gelatin, pigs in a blanket, and baked Alaska were very popular foods during the 1960s. Now, out of all of those, I think baked Alaska will be the easiest one to make. Let's go see if I can make it. Let's do this. And now to carefully put it inside. It's so perfect. Baked Alaska. Nailed it. all in all, that was the 1960s. It was a very wild year, to say at the least. I hope you all enjoyed my overview of the 1960s and got a little intake of how it was. Now, to end this amazing video, let us play, although the song didn't come out in the 1960s, my favorite song, Led Zeppelin, the greatest song in the whole entire world. Let's enjoy